Welcome back to the Cycling Demystified podcast with me, Wei, and today we are joined by superstar bike fitter Matt Chan. Welcome back to the podcast.
I'll take it.
I haven't seen you in a while, so it's good to be back in the room with you.
Good to be back. No Matt Wharton today, so
Yeah.
I have to take the position of grumpy bike fitter.
It's going to be full of pleasantries and less angst, maybe. But welcome back to the podcast, your podcast for exploring the art, craft, and people behind Bike Fit. And today we're going to do a mailbag episode. So the Tour de France is on. In fact, we are recording this at the halfway point of the Tour de France. So it is stage 11 today, day after Bastille Day. Did you have any Bastille Day celebrations?
I was in France
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah. How was it? Was
Good.
Yeah. After the football as well. Just.
I left as the football was getting going.
Oh.
So I got out of there just in time.
I thought, it's probably quite a disappointing Bastille Day as Poggy smashed the Tour and the French lost the football.
No luck for the French.
No.
Despite the ASO's
Designs.
Despite the ASO's best efforts to get a French winner,
Yeah.
Poggy says no.
Yeah. Poggy just does what he wants to do.
Fair enough.
But people have been sending us questions. Some are tour related, some most of them are tour related. I think they're kind of tour inspired. They are all related to Bike Fit, of course, so we thought we'd answer some of them. We didn't get around to them last week, so we saved some of them for this week. So we'll just crack through some of them, see if we can get through as many as we can, and hopefully that will give you some good information. So I think we're going to start with, we did get one from, it's from Rad1004.
Hello, Rad.
So, Instagram messages. Why don't pros use more padded saddles? Is it because they don't need the padding, or are they lighter than regular riders and they are just riding saddles or are they just riding the saddles that they are given?
I mean, first of all, define more padded saddles, because I would argue that a lot of them, in this day and age of 3D printed saddles, do use quite padded saddles.
Yeah. There's quite a variety within the pro peloton, but I guess the image of a pro saddle is a sleek, slim, pencil thin kind of saddle.
Yeah, whereas, if you look at the Argo Adaptive that Poggy's riding, if you do the thumb test on that saddle, it's pretty squishy.
Yeah.
Compared to something like that Bjorn that you're sitting next to currently, which is literally a sheet of carbon.
Yeah. So maybe that's a good place to place a bit of comparison. There are saddles out there which are literally like a sheet of carbon. There's no padding whatsoever. Sella Italia famously did their Kit Carbino SLR saddle, and that's just got nothing on it. It's just carbon.
I don't imagine that anyone in the peloton's using that.
No, exactly. So there's no one there using like a completely unpadded saddle. At the same time, there's plenty of people using 3D printed saddles, which tend to be a little bit squishier, would you say? Than a regular foam saddle.
It's all relative, isn't it? Like also, on the other hand, none of the pros I imagine are using a Sella Italia Novus Max or whatever it's called. The
super squishy,
extra padded one.
Yeah. So I think. You got to take everything a little bit relative to each other. And yes, I would say that a lot of the pro riders are fairly light, and they also spend a lot of time on their bikes and have exceptionally more power than the rest of us. So one thing that maybe people don't think about as much in terms of saddle comfort is that saddle comfort can be mitigated or determined by how much power you put out. So how much you push against the pedals. So if you're pushing more power against the pedals, putting more force through your legs, that literally lifts your body away from the saddle. So you put less weight into the saddle. So if you're riding Pro Tour power, and you're a relatively light rider, then the amount of weight that you put into the saddle and the amount that you feel is going to be less relative to, say, like an amateur rider who goes out once a week at the weekend. And,
unfortunately, generally speaking, unfortunately for us mere mortals, the fitter you are, the stronger and more robust you are, generally speaking, the more comfortable your bike riding experience is. Yeah. Which is, a hard pill to swallow, but it's true.
But really important. Like, that's the other side of strength and power that we don't really talk about that much. That the stronger you are, then the more comfortable you'll be. The more capacity you have to absorb the kind of loads. But there is a very much a definite correlation between more power, more comfortable saddle, just because you're putting less weight into it. So, there are days when the pro peloton's kind of soft pedaling, just those in between stages and so on. And so I guess the saddles have to be comfortable enough to get you through 3 weeks of, continuous riding.
Soft pedaling in the pro peloton's probably still going at 40k an hour.
Yeah. So I think some kind of padding is probably welcome in there. And which takes us on to our next question, which was from where was it? There was a question about bib shorts. Would you rather have more padding in your bib shorts and less padding in the saddle, or would you have more padding in the saddle and less in your bib shorts? Like, does that matter?
This is a very philosophical question.
And this is I got reminded of this question because just as I was coming into the studio, I was like walking past the bike racks, and someone was wearing their bib shorts inside out. So nice. Had all the padding facing outwards, and I couldn't decide whether or not to intervene. Just say, "Hey, do you know you're wearing your bib shorts inside out?" I'm not sure how I would feel if someone came and told me that.
This is one for the ancient philosophers. Which came first?
Well, if you wore your bib shorts inside out, you'd notice, right?
I think so, probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be far less comfortable. But though I think back in the day there was a brand called, I think it was a triathlon brand called X Bionic, who put the padding on the outside of the short rather than inside. I never tried it, but
sounds like something a triathlon focused brand would do.
It did look a bit weird. Anyway, check your bib shorts, guys. Make sure they're the right way around.
So in the saddle, or
in the shorts.
In the shorts. Where do you like your padding?
Okay, for example, like I ride a saddle with 0 padding in it. So SMP Volcor, which has it's got a leather covering over the shell, but there's no padding in it, and I find that exceptionally comfortable. I do notice if I go over bumps, if I don't have bib shorts on, then you notice it.
It's a bit sharp.
Yeah. So I think some padding is definitely advisable or required in order to just absorb the road shock, and especially if you live in the UK, as we do, then the road surfaces are not ideal, not glass smooth like out in France. And so, some degree of suspension somewhere is going to be a good thing. But I like a firm saddle because I feel that I've got something to push against. And maybe I can change the degree of padding depending on the ride that I'm going to go on. So if I'm going for maybe a longer ride, maybe I'll put on my Assos bib shorts, which have a bit more padding in it. Otherwise, I've got some Rapha bib shorts, which I'll put on for just regular riding, and that seems to work fine. And so for me, I think a degree of variability or ability to choose the degree of padding that I have against the bike is a good thing. Whereas if you've got a saddle which has got just loads of padding in it or no padding in it, then that's you've got to live with that.
I'm imagining this question's sort of coming from someone who, I don't know, it sounds like a question like a bike packing kind of rider would ask. So like if they're trying to set their bike up for a long trip away and they're trying to decide, do I go with a super cushy saddle or do I invest in some bib shorts? And honestly, I think the answer is probably you've got to try both.
Yeah.
I would imagine there's some people out there who don't get on that well with bib shorts. That's something that's probably quite subjective.
Yeah, I think so. There's definitely... who was it? Was it Leah Wilcox? Did she ride with like
baggy shorts?
And no padding? I can't remember. There's someone in the ultra endurance world who's famously like, just, I don't wear bib shorts and I can do all these crazy rides and win them.
Yeah, like, and you know, if they've tried every bib short under the sun and it's not for them, and they do feel more comfortable with a more padded saddle and just a regular pair of shorts, then.
So the only thing I would add is that a padded saddle is basically a saddle that deforms, like when you sit on it, so the shape of it changes, and so that will affect kind of how you sit and create power and the consistency of your position. So that's another reason why I prefer to have a firmer saddle, because the saddle itself or the bike position stays the same. Whereas with a padded saddle, it just deforms under load, and so there's just a lot less consistency in that, and I prefer to try and control that feeling away from the bike, I guess, through the clothing. I think it's easier to kind of control that rather than, just squidging into a saddle.
That being said, actually, and this is just because I'm like a super overthinker, and feel free to call me out on my nonsense here, but I think when I ride the same bike without my bib shorts on, I'm pretty sure I can feel the slightly lower saddle height.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like there's certain, like if I put on the Assos bib shorts or I've got some Lacole bib shorts as well, which are super padded. Yeah, you definitely notice that. It's a bit like shoes as well. If you put on different shoes, like you can feel the stack height sometimes, all that comes into play. So maybe you want the same saddle, or no, more padded saddle, and that means you don't have to play around with your seat height so much.
You do you. We are not elitist.
I don't know if we've answered that question at all, given any more clarity into it. But I don't know. Both are valid forms of kind of cushioning and padding. But just go out and try some stuff. But
should we bosh through a few more saddle-related questions then? Because there's a couple more on this list.
Yeah. What else have we got?
So, are 3D printed saddles better in the heat? From Adrian Duffield.
3D saddle. I guess it's been pretty hot at the tour, so 40 degrees heat.
I think this is probably again going to be quite an individual experience, and I would also say that not all 3D printed saddle uppers are created equally. So I'm kind of thinking, if you compare like the Physique Adaptive upper with the specialized mirror upper, very different.
Yeah. So the adaptive, the Physique saddles, they've got bigger holes.
Slightly more abrasive holes, I would say.
Yeah. And I think the Specialized have covered the top of their 3D printed saddles with a more regular,
bit smoother
surface. Yeah. So it's still grippy enough, I think, but it's not as abrasive as the adaptive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, logic would have it that a more holy upper would be better when things get a little wet.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this in terms of triathlon. I've always thought that maybe a 3D printed saddle would be a great triathlon saddle, because you get out of the water and you're dripping wet. So you need a saddle that kind of holds you in place but allows the water to drain out. And definitely the 3D printed lattice of the saddles will give you that, rather than like a regular foam saddle which has just got like a non-pervious kind of surface. So theoretically, that should work, and maybe that will help get you a little bit more airflow. So maybe 3D printed saddles will potentially give you a little bit more airflow and help in the heat. I
got a counterpoint to that.
Yeah,
just because I think on some of the more abrasive uppers, if you're a heavy sweater, that can get real uncomfortable real quick. Just because of the friction and the kind of I don't know what the word is, the slightly sharper kind of holes. Not ideal.
There's more. There's less consistency in the surface of the saddle, so that gives opportunities for. Certainly, I've seen people go through bib shorts quicker on those 3D printed saddles. Like the Sella Italia ones in particular as well, are particularly abrasive, I would say, as well.
Yeah, maybe I've been unfair on physics here, because that Sella Italia 3D that we're looking at is pretty rough.
But then, they're just different saddles. So I think also good to mention that 3D printed saddles are not all equal. They're just another option, and different people make it in different ways. And so, maybe test it out in different ways. Like the Pro Logo 3D printed Nago, it still adopts their kind of segmented philosophy. So different segments of the saddle will have different densities.
The Scratch.
The Scratch. Scratch and Nago. I think they both make a 3D printed version of that. But they are segmented, and so like the nose of the saddle will be a bit softer, and the sides maybe a bit softer, but the kind of rear sit bone area will be a bit firmer. So I guess that's where 3D printing can be advantageous in creating those different density zones without losing.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Without losing too much of the overall kind of structure of the saddle. So, maybe some of that will kind of help with kind of airflow and things like that. But actually, speaking of which, I was looking on the AliExpress.
Oh, here we go.
And the main reason they kind of tout a central relief or pressure cutout in a saddle is for ventilation. Literally, I should have brought a picture in, but they were like, this is not a pressure relief channel, this is an airflow channel. And there's like all these pictures of wind going up. It's like, keep everything dry and cool. Maybe it does. I mean, certainly I've noticed it when riding off-road. Everything gets very dirty if you have a cutout, which isn't great. But I don't know, ventilation, not talked about so much. And going back to the bib short thing, if you want a comfortable ride, you've got to keep everything ventilated. So maybe there's something in that. Interesting questions. Any more bib short questions or saddle questions?
There's some brand-related bib short questions, which I tend to steer clear of having opinions on, because that's like asking, do you prefer apples or oranges?
What was this? Assos versus Rapha shorts. Oh, that's weird. I was just talking about my own bib short collection. This comes from the change in the EF team, I think, because they were on Rapha and then now they're on Assos. So
this is just a question from Gabby. Would you rather race the Tour in Assos shorts or Rapha shorts?
Just personal preference.
If you do find yourself racing the Tour, you probably don't have a choice. So.
Even within the brands, though, there are different shorts within the lineups and so on.
Yeah, that's true, actually. I have one pair of Rapha shorts that are like my favourite bib shorts.
Yeah.
And the other pair of Rapha shorts that I own are potentially my least favourite.
Yeah. Or, I've got some kind of classic Rapha bib shorts, which are just very comfy, easy going, go-to, does everything well. And then I've got a lightweight pair as well, which has been really great in this weather where it's really hot and so on. And just actually the main difference I feel is in the straps.
Yeah.
And if that might be something to compare that we don't often think about, like the straps. Assos straps are kind of generally a bit heftier bit bigger, I'd say. And they have a different kind of fastening style. They like got an X crossover on the back. I'm not so afraid with like the different styles for women, but I know certainly my wife talks about it. Like the strapping becomes very important for ladies, and how that kind of goes around your women's anatomy. So yeah, maybe think about the strapping rather than just the padding or bib short, and of course, like, you know, where the padding is in the bib short becomes important. But yeah, it's like asking really, what shoes do you prefer? It's like, well, it's just
yeah. I mean, I you know, people tend to wax lyrical about the Assos shorts, and I have tried them, not really got on well with them, but there you go. So horses for courses. I think you're right though. I think in the women's tour it probably is not more of a consideration because they also have to ride what they're given, but I would say it's probably more tricky. The fact that they do have to ride what they're given. Yeah. When that obviously tends to be something that can have quite a big effect on your riding for women. Yeah, we talked about that last week, just about, you know, are pros actually optimized when they don't get so much of a choice of what they're given and what they're riding, and, you know, you just got to get on with it. Yeah, and let's face it, like the women's tour is, I assume, very underfunded, so it's not like every rider's getting a custom pair of bib shorts or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, there's a question here about Torsten Train, and sadly he's crashed out of the tour, but it was very exciting when he was in yellow. He gave us so much hope for one day. Right? I know. Oh, I feel so bad for him, man. Like, he's a good rider too. But yeah, there's a question about whether or not the progressive geometry or on his Ridley Noah Fast. Can you explain to the listeners what this question, who asked this question? Don't know. What did this question asker mean by progressive geometry? So the Ridley Noah Fast is probably one of the first new generation of race bikes or aero bikes which adopts a slightly more forward sitting position. So the geometry is quite different from a regular road bike, and essentially I think the best way to explain it is it's basically like a time trial bike with drop bars. So the seat tube angle is much further forward, I think for a size small in that size, which probably is what Torsten's riding. Seat tube angle is about 75.5 degrees, whereas a regular road bike would be somewhere like 73.5, 73 degrees. So it works out as, I think, it's like roughly kind of 5 mil further forwards that you can get the saddle. No, way more than that. So for every half a degree, it brings the saddle forward about 5 mil. So so I'm comparing it to like a 70. So 75.5 versus 73, that's so it's 20 mil further forward, basically. So automatically your neutral position is, you're just pitched much further forward. So similar to the Factor 1, if you haven't seen that, which is a kind of crazy looking aero bike. The whole point of that bike is that, they've adopted this much more forward position. So both the seat tube angle is much further forward, which pitches your sitting position further forward, but they've also lengthened the bike by around about 20 mil. So relative to the Factor Ostro, which is a regular race bike, the saddle position is 20 mil further forward, and the reach of the bike, all the sizes are 20 mil longer. So everything's just pitched much further forward, and that's there to optimize for aerodynamics, I think. And I think this is kind of what racers have been kind of asking for, and we've seen it in the pro peloton, how everyone's just been edging their positions further and further forward, and some of that is just how you race, and the more power you put down, then the further forward your body position wants to be, and the further forward your body position can be, then you can adopt a slightly more aerodynamic position. Hence why time trial bikes are designed like that. The main difference between a time trial bike and a road bike is that the
all the angles, those seat tube angles, much steeper, much further forward, and just pitches your whole body weight forward. So that's what's been happening in road bikes. But the consequence of pitching your body weight further forward is that your center of gravity is just pitched further forward. And so this changes how balanced you are on the bike. And if you go uphill, this can be a real advantage. So this is also a reason why mountain bikes in modern mountain bikes have also steepened their seat tube angles. In fact, they were probably the first to do this. So modern mountain bikes probably have a seat tube angle around about 75, 76, 77. And the main reason why they did this is so that you could, when you go uphill, you sit further forward in order to get your weight over the bike and to keep the bike balanced and to maintain your pedaling efficiency, so getting your weight in the right place. So if you're going uphill on a steep incline on a mountain bike, then with a steeper seat tube angle, then you can just sit and pedal for longer. And so on a race bike, makes a lot of sense as well. If you're going up alpine climbs, then a steeper seat tube angle is going to be advantageous and you can climb better. On the flip side, if your weight's pitched further forward, when you've got to the top of the hill, you've also got to go down. So all your weight is much more forward and you're going to be falling down the mountain a lot quicker. I think there's some chat from manufacturers about how lengthening the front end of the bike and changing maybe the fork rakes and the trail figures of the steering kind of figures for the bike will preserve some of that handling. But I don't think there's any getting away from the fact that there's just more body weight pitched forward. And so as soon as you go downhill, you're just more unbalanced. And where did we see Torsten crash? Well, it was on a downhill around a corner. I mean,
it's worth saying that that's probably not the reason why he crashed, given the circumstances.
But I think this is where the question was going.
Yeah, and I think, it's an interesting question. And I think it's definitely one worth talking about. And actually, this was brought up a lot last season in relation to Poggy. Yeah. Because I think the past couple of seasons, not so much this year.
Yeah, you stacked it on...
so I'm thinking Roubaix. I'm also thinking Strada.
Strada Bianca, that was it, yeah.
Going around corners. Yeah. So this was kind of brought up as in relation to Pogacar's handling, because as we know, he has this very kind of forward position. Yeah. So it's interesting. But if we go back to the image of Torsten's bike, what's interesting about it is that despite the kind of really forward saddle position, he's actually chosen to install his saddle and slam the saddle as far back as possible. Yeah. So actually, he's trying to achieve more of that kind of a more traditional kind of bike position. So despite he's riding progressive, like kind of more forward bike, but he's trying to recreate the kind of more a more regular kind of riding position. So maybe, again, to your point earlier about, pros just get given what they're given and they just have to adapt around it. Exactly. I mean, do Ridley make a offset seat post for this bike? Because the other thing that's worth saying is that Ridley seat post looks very Cervelo-esque in that there's basically no adjustment for it. You probably got 5 mil either end. Yeah. And we can see, just to clarify, what Wei was saying is that despite the very kind of steep seat tube angle, he's slammed his saddle as far as it will go back on the rails. Which is kind of interesting.
He's also got about 25 mils of spaces under his stem. So interesting that the Pro Peloton is adapting around different bike geometries.
Banana data stem there. But the other interesting thing then is that he's riding a S-Works power mirror saddle, which, as we kind of know, from the fits that we do in the studio, because it flares so early, you do sit quite far forwards on it. It does kind of pitch your pelvis quite far forwards. Yeah. So it's an interesting game of kind of cat and mouse going on with Torsten's bike.
But it goes to show how, your saddle choice can really determine how the rest of your bike setup kind of fits or doesn't fit, or what seat post choices you need, and so on and so on. So, I don't think, his progressive geometry is probably why he crashed. I think he was probably just knackered going downhill and crashed.
He got taken out by his teammate, didn't he?
Did he get taken out, or did he ride into his teammate?
They overlapped wheels going downhill.
Yeah.
That, I don't know.
He gassed himself going up the hill. So, so we shall see. But we were talking earlier about how the Pro Peloton actually looks pretty good this year.
There's a lot of good going on.
Yeah, in terms of bike fit, I don't think I've seen so many people sitting on the backs of their saddles, or kind of where we want people to be sat on their saddles. And I was struggling to find people who are kind of sitting in a bad position. Normally we see, people sliding kind of really far forward and kind of sitting on the nose of the saddles and things like that, even on their TT positions and so on. But everyone looks pretty good this year. It's only when, I think yesterday's stage, when Richard Carapaz was really going for it, solo break, trying to getting a minute on the peloton, getting chased down by Poggy. He was right on the rivet, right on the limit, and that was the only time where I saw him kind of really come forward and in his ultimate effort, which is fine. But everyone else seems to be sat correctly, inverted brackets.
I wonder if more teams are kind of enlisting bike fitters now than before. Oof. We all saw the video of Tom Pidcock. Yeah. Working with a bike fitter that came out recently.
I don't know.
And they're not exactly they're not a team that's at the top of the the standings. So.
I don't know. I feel like bike fit may be more something that riders themselves will seek out.
Yeah.
Maybe the teams take less of a precedent, but it's more of an individual kind of choice.
I find that's really interesting to me though, because if I was a performance director, I'd be like, you all need to go and explore bike fit right now, because otherwise, because I'd want to know if I was leaving something on the table, which is kind of what bike fit is about.
Yeah. But I think we don't tend to realize how disparate teams are.
Yes,
teams are teams, but everyone trains and lives in different places around the world, and quite often teams only come together for big events like the Tour and so on. So I think it's more rare to have cohesive groups and people that spend a lot of time together. Pidcock probably just trains on his own, right?
Yeah, there was me trying to equate World Tour cycling to the Premier League. So pro cycling is the absolute Wild West in comparison.
Yeah. So. But it's really interesting seeing where it's gone. Maybe it's just to do with. Okay, here's one. Maybe it's because everyone has been adopting a more forward sitting position. Maybe they've all been listening to the podcast and reading the Escape Collective and thinking about more progressive positions and jamming their saddles forward, and that actually puts them into a better sitting position overall. If you push your saddle forward, then maybe you're more likely to sit on the front. I don't know.
Maybe.
That's
Who knows? We should get some World Tour riders on here.
Yeah. Any World Tour riders out there? Let us know what you're thinking. All right. Any more questions? There was some question. Oh, what about shoes? Remco's shoes.
Yeah. So Remco
Cycling Weekly
now
spotted.
seems to be riding. They say unreleased special. So this is an article from Cycling Weekly. Remco Evenepoel is using unreleased specialized lace-up shoes at the Tour, and nobody has noticed. Well, clearly someone has.
They kind of just look like the regular.
They look like the old ones. I don't know. They're trying to say. Well, they're saying they're differentiated from the existing specialized Torch laces by some difference different colours, which seems like a bit of a reach to me. But
I mean, Remco's just got some customised shoes.
It's interesting that Remco has his sort of very own signature shoe, which is the Aries 2 Remco version, I think.
Yeah. That's an interesting shot.
Which he doesn't seem to be wearing at the tour. He seems to just be wearing the kind of regular Torch lace shoes. I mean, how much do you want to read into this? So before we hit record, I suggested to Way that was because they were more aero, which Way laughed at.
I mean, yeah, I know Wigo roads like Giro lace ups because they were kind of more aero.
I think there is something to it. I mean, objectively they probably are more aero, but in this case, maybe he just finds them more comfortable.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's probably the main thing if you're doing a 3-week Grand Tour.
It's a long lap of France. Yeah.
But then, they designed the Aries specifically for him, right? The Aries
Some of these
2.
questions we are not going to be able to answer, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, what about... I know Matt W., he rides lace ups.
Yeah.
He rides lace up lakes and he loves them. How about you? Are you a lace up kind of guy?
Yeah, I used to have the Torch laces. Yeah. I did really like them, aside from the fact they were too narrow for me.
Yeah.
But in terms of the closure,
yeah,
they were. I mean,
I hate laces.
Yeah. It seems to be. There was that one shot from, was it the Tour last year, where there was like 5 guys in the breakaway, like Ben Healy included, and they all had lace shoes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was like a lace shoes are making a comeback type thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people just find it more comfortable. You can kind of fine tune the pressure on the top of your feet more. But what you can't do is adjust them while you're riding.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that bugs me. Like, I definitely adjust my shoes as I go. And yeah, just taking laces on and off. I do get the point that if you can change the lacing patterns, there's 1,000,001 different ways of lacing your shoes and the cross patterns that you can have, and that you can fine tune that to your preferences. But swings and roundabouts, I guess. But I'm not such a fan. I think the shoes got to fit first as well. I don't know.
So Cycling Weekly are suggesting that these shoes that Remco are wearing are, I don't know. This seems like questionable journalism. They're suggesting that the ones that Remco are wearing are slightly narrower than the existing Specialized Torch shoes, which may be true. And yeah, maybe Remco just has really narrow feet. And those Remco Edition Aries were fairly wide, and too wide can cause some issues in itself. Just like too narrow, just like too long.
Yeah.
If the shoe fits.
Yeah. What do you think of Poggy's shoes then? DMT, knit DMTs.
But the thing is, though, like with someone at Poggy's level, they are made for his feet.
Yeah.
So he's not riding the out the box standard DMTs.
Well, we don't know that, but
there's riders of far less caliber than Poggy who are having custom shoes made for them. So I'm sure that there's been some intervention there.
But yeah, I did get someone in the studio last week asking about DMT shoes, and it's probably because Poggy's wearing them. But I'm not a fan of like the knit uppers. In fact, I was wearing some on my running trainers. I've got a pair of Ultra with knit uppers. Even there, I don't like them. They're just way too soft.
Yeah.
And certainly for cycling shoes or racing shoes, I don't want a soft upper. I need something that kind of really encases my foot, not uncomfortably, but I want to feel like my entire foot is supported all the way around, and that creates a kind of more rigid platform to be able to apply power through.
Yeah.
It's like the complete opposite to the Law shoes that I've been testing out, which have got they're like almost like a ski boot in comparison, just like rigid all the way around. And the power transfer through that is incredible. Knit shoes can be very comfortable because it just, your foot just kind of splays out and is not restricted by the shoe at all. But it feels very wishy-washy, and I feel like I get a lot more I don't know, just movement or instability in the shoe itself.
The other thing is the knit upper just accommodating the fact that the shoes don't fit you?
Yeah.
Like the amount of times that I've seen people come through the studio with a shoe that is way too narrow for them, but because they've got these extremely stretchy knit uppers, it's usually a physique. You kind of see they're like, yeah, it's super comfortable, but as soon as they put their foot in it, it's just like falling over the outside of the sole and into the kind of soft upper. But what we're kind of interested in is the sole, right? It's what you push down against. So you don't just want to be pushing down against like knit. No, because that's not going to get, as you say, that's not going to give you kind of any purchase. So they can sort of hide a poor fitting shoe.
And but you know the rest of the upper matters throughout the rest of the pedal stroke. Like the push down phase of your pedal stroke is only part of it. I'm not saying you should pull.
What you're about to say.
I'm not advocating you should pull up, but your foot does need kind of support throughout the rest of the pedal stroke. Again, cycling is about efficiency, about keeping a consistent kind of movement pattern. And if your foot is searching for the right position constantly because it's not held in place, then you're using more energy than you need to kind of complete the task at hand. So I'm sure that there is like I've got a pair of Lake 201s which have a completely mesh soft forefoot upper, and there is a time and place where that feels great. But if I want to push on a bit, go up a climb hard, then they feel awful. I mean, they're comfortable, but like I just feel like I'm just losing a lot going through that. So time and place.
There you go.
But
so what you're saying is Poggy's losing power by using a knit shoe.
He could be even faster. Like, if he changed his saddle and his shoes, he'd be even faster. But he's fast enough already. So, maybe we need to give him more soft things.
No one give Poggy a pair of Lakes.
Yeah. But I think final question here was we had a question about Poggy. I think this came from Poggy. Do pre-race banded warm-ups work? This is the same as turbo trainer warm-ups. So this is from Jeff. Should we be doing the same?
This is an interesting one. Yeah.
What do you think of... I think this has probably started from Poggy, right? Like, seeing him at the beginning of races with his resistance bands doing...
Actually, I saw a video of... I think it was Campanarts' vlog from the tour this year where... who was it? I'm having a complete brain fart here. The American rider on Visma.
Jorgensen?
Yeah, sorry. Jorgensen was doing his banded warm-ups in the team bus pre-stage. So he's obviously sort of taken a leaf out of Poggy's book.
I was wondering if anyone else does it. I haven't seen any other riders, but I mean, obviously we're not in the tour, but I'll be interested to know if other riders in other teams are doing kind of pre-race warm-ups.
This is an interesting one amongst the kind of PT, rehab, physio community as well. It's kind of the efficacy of like banded glute work. I don't know. Jury's out.
And so the other half of the question is about, is this the same as turbo trainer warm-ups? Because you do see, riders warming up on the turbos, on the rollers before the start of a race. So what's going on here?
I mean, I'd say no, it's not the same. So the goal is quite different. I would argue. So obviously the goal of your turbo warm-up is to get the heart rate up and get a bit of blood flow through the legs. Whereas the goal with the kind of banded work is muscular activation, in theory. Yeah,
I would say. So if I think about it from like a workout point of view, if I was in the gym and I was about to kind of do a workout, then you do a pre kind of warm up before you go into like the main activity. And the idea is to, kind of warm the muscles up, but also I think to get your neuromuscular system firing or kind of activated. I don't really like the word activated.
Yeah.
But it's about kind of, it's almost like waking your body up and making sure that it's focused on the task at hand and that the body's aware of what it's about to do and maybe some of the best pathways that you can go about creating the right kind of movement. And we can just do that by putting some tension into certain areas where we're about to do some work. So the body's just aware of what it's about to do. And so when it comes to doing the task, then you're straight in there. And I think this matters from like a race point of view because, you know, the race starts at the gun and you're like full gas straight away. You don't know what's going to happen. You've got to be ready. You can't just, you know, rock up and, you know, take the first 20 kilometers to warm up, which is why they're warming up on the turbo already. They're getting the heart ready, getting everything.
Yeah, like racing
ready.
in the World Tour now is like full gas from the gun.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
which would be interesting. Like if you're in the break, if you're ready to go in the break that day, you know, would you be more predisposed to be doing, you know, your banded warm-ups and stuff like that? Like, you know, you maybe you could tell who's going to be in the break by who's doing their warm-ups beforehand.
You can have like the Visma spies walking around walking around the team buses, seeing who's on the turbo. I think that probably is a thing.
Yeah. Probably. Well, I was reading about how there's so much we don't know about kind of the politics of what happens within the pro peloton, but I'm sure certain teams will be like, hey, we are going to go on the break today, you know, we're going to be the team that goes up there, you know, just letting you guys know so, you know, you don't get in our way, or, you know, or maybe it's the opposite way around. We want to control the break today, we want to control the race because, you know, or we want to get the Green Points jersey up to this point, and then you guys can go free reign or whatever. I'm sure there's like kind of plenty of chat within the peloton of like, you know, that kind of stuff, and then there's some bluffing and double bluffing and all the rest of it. So who knows? But yeah, it'll be interesting to see which teams kind of go through that process of essentially doing some neuromuscular warm-up as well as kind of turbo trainer warm-ups.
So yeah, it's a shame Matt Wharton's not here to answer this. Our resident gym bro.
I mean, yeah, it certainly worked. Like I won't lift heavy without having done a certain kind of warm-up in order to get myself aware of kind of what's happening.
Yeah,
and
so
also,
like, you know, if you're planning on, you know, doing some heavy squat sets, then quite often you'll add in a kind of just a few reps just with the bar with no plates on it. Just so you can kind of feel that kind of muscular engagement and like build, as you were saying, that kind of neuromuscular connection.
And I think also it may be a check-in for riders, particularly if you've been riding multiple days before, maybe you've crashed, you know, what is my body doing? What does it feel like? You know, if you wake up in the morning, you've been sleeping on your side, and maybe you've been sleeping on the other side to where you regularly sleep, and your body just feels a bit different. And so you got to stretch, you got to move your body around, you got to kind of get it kind of woken up and rebalanced, and the way we do that is by moving and by creating tension and so on. You know, it's why animals do it. Like you see a cat wake up and it, you know, stretches its whole body completely in order to figure out where is tight today, what's going on, where's my body going. And so this is another way of, I guess, preparing the body, I think.
So Jeff asked, should we be doing the same? I think the answer is yes. The turbo warm-ups, not sure. Depends on your goal. Yeah. If you're about to race a crit, then maybe you brought your rollers along, and that's fine.
Yeah. Well, when I was racing TTs, that was probably one of the best things that my coach ever told me to do. It's like, take a pair of rollers, go warm up before the TT, because when you hit the line, you're ready. The engine is warm already. You're not starting from cold. So, you know, if you're racing, then warming up on the turbo, definitely very important. But banded warm-ups?
I think so. I think like there's certainly no downside to it. Yeah. I think a lot of we talk about this often in sessions as well, is the fact that cyclists, especially cyclists with busy working lives tend to spend a lot of time in flexion, in hip flexion, and you know, some of the kind of banded work certainly like encourages more extension. And I mean, I've definitely noticed doing a little bit of kind of extension based mobility and kind of activation before my morning commute often is beneficial. So I can't see any reason why that wouldn't be beneficial. But I think the thing we often come up against is people don't want to do it because it takes 10 minutes.
Is this the same as stretching?
No.
There you go. Because I quite often get asked, like, should I stretch before I go on a ride? And usually the answer is no. But maybe you should be doing more of this kind of activation work.
So to be clear, people are often talking about static stretching. Whilst cold. Which we're not sort of big fans of.
So the idea is to move. Like you're about to do a lot of moving on a bike, but in a quite a limited fashion, like a restricted kind of plane of movement. And the idea is to get the whole body moving before you do that, so that you're aware of kind of any points of tightness, any points of restriction, where you're feeling good, waking muscles up, which is different to just holding a static stretch, which doesn't wake anything up. It just kind of pulls some ligaments, tendons, muscles into an extension, and that's it. It doesn't kind of move your body, and movement is really kind of what wakes you up, I think. Stretching after a ride, that would make more sense, I think, when you've created a lot of tension in your body and everything's tight and warm, and then you can kind of reset, I guess, with a bit of stretching to kind of allow the body to relax. You use the stretch to relax the body, but if you do that before you work out, essentially try and relax your body by stretching, then maybe you won't get the kind of work that your body wants to do. Kind of done the opposite. So I don't know. There's probably some cases for stretching before you do a ride, but I would probably focus more on activating, kind of waking the body up. Make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Do we want to answer? Should we do one more, or I think?
Let's do one more. Let's finish on a high.
Who has the most ridiculous TT helmet of the tour?
Okay, this will be a great one.
EF or Visma?
Raphman 12. Who has the most ridiculous TT helmet of the tour? EF or Visma? I wasn't expecting EF to be amongst the contenders. That one looks all right, I thought. Hold on, let's pull up the video here. I mean, we all know the Giro helmet. What's the name of that helmet that Visma are wearing?
The Arrowhead? Is it Arrowhead?
We all know that one's ridiculous. Like, that's the one that started this whole thing.
But POC released this the EF helmet at this tour, so that was the bigger reveal.
So is this okay, yeah. So this looks much more similar to the POC helmet now looks much more similar to the Giro helmet.
Yeah, it's just like a huge fairing, basically.
I don't know. Do you reckon the UCI are going to start nerfing these at some point? Because they're just getting longer and longer, aren't they? I
mean, they did try to nerf the Giro, right? They were like, after a certain time, they were like, oh, we can't have this. But I'm not sure where that's got to now.
Yeah, because like the visor, you know, when you think of like how you wear your sunglasses, they are on your eyes.
Yeah.
The visor's like a foot away from from your eyes with this helmet.
Yeah.
So that is purely fairing.
Yeah. I mean, look at that.
It looks like a zeppelin.
Yeah. But Abby said it looked like a whale. Like they just look like a pod of whales, like riding down this. Like if you scroll throughout the video, I'm sure you can see them in formation. But yeah, just
I'd say the Giro one's still more ridiculous.
Yeah, the Pog one, actually, I think it looks pretty good. When they're in the TT position, it looks more regular. I guess it's more like a bullet shape.
Do you know what? I don't hate these time trial positions as well.
Yeah, they look good. EF look good.
Ben Healy looks good.
Yeah, Ben Healy. Who'd have thought Ben Healy would say that? Ben Healy looks good. He looks so janky on a bike sometimes, but but yeah, EF look good, man.
I don't know. Are there any other crazy helmets out there?
Decathlon had a new TT helmet. Visma, Met. Poggy had a new helmet, but it's pretty regular, really.
Yeah.
Is anyone riding Rudy Project? Basically, all the helmets have just got like huge.
Yeah, they're all kind of going along the same lines here.
Yeah. Huge and covering shoulders and just creating a massive fairing. I
still think, the Giro's got to take the biscuit. Like, that thing is just bonkers.
It's just like a Darth Vader helmet, isn't it? But I don't know how the riders feel about wearing them. But, what about Ineos? Ineos had the Cask have a new helmet. They didn't do too badly. But
that one looks normal in comparison, although it's slightly more soldier-esque with the visor, I would say.
Yeah, there's this like kind of vibe.
That's a lot more Star Wars.
Yeah, the visor's kind of flaring out towards the bottom, which look like a bucket.
This picture here of Ineos with their
arms in
with their helmets on, their ice vests on, and their arms in the bucket of water is just. This is why pro cycling will never be taken seriously. I mean, it just looks so ridiculous.
So yeah, which one would you wear? Which one would
I wear?
Yeah. I don't know. I give the POC one a try.
Yeah. So I really like that. They're not. Is this band in the Tour, the POC Pro scene? I'm actually quite a big fan of this helmet.
The Aero Road.
It's kind of like the halfway house.
Yeah, that's what Ben Healy won on. Like he won his stage in the Tour last year.
Yes, he did. Yeah, and there's a picture here of the women's team riding it.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool helmet.
It just looks so hot.
Yeah, warm, not for the current heat wave.
Yeah,
a lot of these helmets. Interestingly, actually, considering it is, so I've just got back from France, and the heat is
real.
Debilitating, to say the least. So I've actually been quite shocked at the amount of people wearing aero helmets, particularly yesterday on the mountain stage. I'm like, surely that's a disadvantage, but there you go.
Yeah, it's every watt counts, but who knows? Then again, you look at Chrissy Wellington, who won Kona Ironman many times, and she always wore like a regular road helmet because it was more ventilated. So, each to his own. Whatever makes you feel good. If you're on a break, I'm sure you'll want aero helmets. But yeah, we shall see what Quinn Simmons comes out with next. Or who's the other guy? Baptista Weisthofer. He's been in the break loads. He looks pretty good.
Specialist.
Yeah, so more breaks to come.
Oh, Alex Baudin has been in the break like every day, hasn't he?
Yeah. Love a good breakaway. Well, we shall see. All right. I think that is a good place to leave it. Thank you for all your questions. Really appreciate you writing in and giving us something to talk about. We will be back next week, maybe with a little roundup of Tour de France things that we found. But yeah, until next week, stay happy, bright happy. And we'll catch you on the next one. Ta-da! If you made it to the end of this episode, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, do leave us a rating or review, as this really helps other riders find our podcast too, and motivates us to keep making more episodes. Thanks for your support, and catch you on the next one.
Suffering from numb hands, tingling toes, and any other persistent discomforts when you ride? These are all signs that your bike fit could be improved. If you're bike fit curious, get in touch with Wei or Matt by emailing info@foundation.fit or finding them on Instagram @FDN_bikefit. Until next time, keep on spinning.